Hello, powerful one. Welcome to this edition of Inner Growth with Symbolises. Today, let us talk about the dynamics of human relationship. How does our contact with one another shape our lives? Everything about humanity in our contact with one another is communication. What exactly is communication? Communication is when we convert a mental image into sound energy or a visual energy. Now, it is a sound energy when we speak. Like you hear me right now, my mental image, my intentions are being converted into sound, and you receive them as auditory waves. And then whatever happens after that is not my responsibility. It is my responsibility to speak. The same way, when I write anything, I'm converting my mental image into a visual image. And that visual image, when you see it, it is registered as also visual mnemonics. It's also recorded as visual image. But at this point in time, what sustains the visual image just as the sound image is memory. And how does memory work? Memory works with history. In other words, there is an organizer in every human being, and that organizer picks any new thing and tries to find out a correspondence. It's something else within the human system in memory or in identity that connects with that thing, that has a resemblance, the closest relation to that thing, and links it. If it does not find anything of close relationship, it tries one that is nearest in relationship, and on the basis of that, it creates understanding. Therefore, this is why you have heard some people say, it is my duty to speak with you. It is my duty to show you anything, but how you respond to it is not my responsibility. That is why I am not responsible for your feelings. I am not responsible for your actions. So such expressions as "they made me do it" is a fallacy. It is an expression of weakness stemming from nothing but ignorance. Nobody can make you do anything. It is this way. When you go out into contact situations, what you are doing is that you are taking your own identity with you. And your identity will pick things on the basis of itself. And every time things are presented before it, it interprets it in line with itself. That is why you are responsible for you. One of the disciples said, "To the pure, all things are pure. But to the impure, nothing is pure." Look at it this way. Somebody is being stoned with oranges, but the person sees missiles. The person sees violence. The person sees an attack. The person sees hatred. Another person is being thrown the same oranges. The person then sees an opportunity for orange punch. The person sees an opportunity for an orange juice or something. It's about perspective. So this idea of holding somebody responsible for your actions doesn't quite work. I am Osezwa Anthony Elimihe. You know me. I am in the game of helping you grow from inside out. That is the dream. The reality of our human existence is that we are either a force that acts on something, or we become the force that is acted upon. There is a force in the state of inertia, and that force requires another force to act upon it. Now, if you are a human being that are a force in the state of inertia, that simply means you have so compressed your mentality, you have so compressed your consciousness that you are living in a state of matter. And in a state of matter, you are to be acted upon by a dynamic force. So people affect you because you are living as matter. You are not living as active energy, you are living as latent energy. And that is why other human beings can affect you. It means you are open. Matter is meant to be exploited. It's meant to be converted into other uses. Life does not give space for inactivity. Whatever is not moving will be moved. Okay? Now, when you live a life in which people easily affect you, it simply means that you haven't had a self-definition. You have not defined yourself to be anything. Like we say, when you have not defined yourself, you have actually defined yourself. You didn't do it actively, but you did it passively. You did it subconsciously. The word I'm trying to use right now is not just subconscious. You did it compulsively. It means that you did it without a design. It looks like an accident, right? That accident is that it's a learned way of doing things out of your conscious understanding. It means it is your birth default. It is your familial way of doing it. You flow with the line that has been drawn for you. People use that same pattern to live a beautiful life. When their family history is positive and is active, they just pick it up. People pick things. But now, whatever state you are in, where other people can affect you and direct you and toss you here and there, it simply means that that state is a state of matter. And those who are affecting you are not necessarily active energies themselves. They may have been matter like you who have been affected by other matter or active energies, and they are rolling and they hit you. They can't help it. They tell themselves that, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean it. They can come and apologize to you 50 times. Some of them, tired of apologizing or not willing to apologize, they rationalize. But every injury is caused by an injured entity. Okay? No alive entity, no dynamic entity, no awake entity can injure another. Even the awake entities, when they are injured as a result of the actions of the falling mass of other matter, what they do is that they ignore, they let go, and they focus primarily on healing that injury, not on trying to find who did it. Why did they do it? They are not interested. They know that sick people make others sick. They don't want to be sick. You've touched them. They want to cure themselves. It's about healing. So when we beg you to forgive, it's not because of those who have offended you. It's because of you. Because if you do not forgive, you can't begin the process of healing. And if you don't heal, you can't grow. Healing is an early stage of growth, preparing the ground for it. So define yourself. Who are you? Some people have defined themselves. In one of those moments, they define themselves and they feel the energy of that definition and they're excited and they move on. But guess what? They soon forget. The Lord Jesus Christ gave the parable of the sower, okay, who sowed seeds. Some were taken by the birds of the air, all of that's what we are talking about. People forget that they have created an identity. They think by just creating it, it will run like that. No, you have to force it in. You have to force into your system to become autopilot, and then you can let go. But you see, people don't have the staying power. They don't have the continuation capacity. The capacity to take a step and run it down the line before letting go when it has become automatic. We are talking right now, and we find it easy to talk. We won't make noise. We begin to sing and jab all over the place. It is easy now. Go back and see a child when that child is learning to speak and see how difficult it is. Every single thing we learn at the onset is difficult. Somehow, people don't like self-help talk like this because it seems as if they are being taken back to the classroom. They feel that they have gone through school and that is all. But unfortunately, school did not teach them things like this. We are talking about the owner manual of the human being. School taught you to cram, to learn what others have done. It didn't teach you what was behind the information that those who discovered things, who wrote the things you are studying, did. So you don't know some of these things. Education teaches us, so to say, to be dependent on the human system, including not just the political and other systems, but also the medical system. If you know some of these things deeply into your being, you will not become an issue that depends on the expertise of shrinks, of pharmaceutical industry, where people are now no more being cured. They are being managed. Their illnesses are being managed so that money can constantly flow into that industry. Somebody once told me, a retired physician, he told me, he said, unless you have an accident, a bleeding wound, or a very serious emergency, you have no business going to the hospital. Maybe that is the extreme of the matter, but the truth is this: we have been trained not to depend on ourselves, not to depend on our capacity, that innate human capacity for responses to situations. We are depending on, it's like a template. We are given a template to live and we are just doing cut and paste. We are not being original. And because we are not being original, our capacity to self-heal, our capacity to rise above circumstances and situations are gravely attenuated, if not erased. So what we are begging us is to relearn the human ways. Humanity is power. Humanity is love. Humanity is a settled and growing identity. It's not static. It's not powerless. It's not dependent on anything. Life depends on the human being to subsist on this planet. That is why the human beings are called in the mystical field the seeds of life. The presence of human beings in any space generates possibilities, generates growth, generates life. Unlike what you hear all over the place, we are not the cancers. We are not the vira of this planet. Instead, we are the enzymes that promotes, that elevates, that creates meaning, that creates growth. The parable of the Lord Jesus Christ about the kingdom of heaven. First of all, he said that the kingdom of heaven is within you, right on your inside. And when he went talking about the parable of the kingdom, you will realize that he said, first, in one of the instances, he said, the kingdom of heaven is like yeast that was put in the midst of a dough. And over the course of the night, the dough expanded. He said, it's like, kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed. That is the least of all seeds. But when it is planted, it becomes a gigantic tree that spreads, and the birds of the air find shelter in its shades. What is that talking about? First, the kingdom of God is within you. And that kingdom expands things. You see it? That kingdom of heaven grows things. So where is your reductive tendency coming from? Where is your inability to heal and manage your system come from? Sometimes I visit friends, I visit family members, and I see that they are having some ailments. And there is so much faith in external aids than in the internal. Somebody has simple cold, catarrh, and they must buy medication. They must spend money on medication before they think they can get well. Simple things that you can just trust your system. When you have cold or catarrh, it simply means that your immunity has been compromised. Beef up your immunity with lemon, with things that contain vitamin C, and cease from the lifestyle you've been living. It's like when somebody has a headache and they want to go and start taking painkillers. For what? You want to deaden the message that your system is sending to you, telling you that your system is dirty, that there's supposed to be an attention somewhere, that your thoughts are becoming too dangerous for your system. No, you take medication to silence the pain. Meanwhile, the cause of that pain is still there. I have elderly ones who do blood pressure test every time. If you do that test 4 times, you will get 4 different results. And I had to ask that, I said, does it not teach you that the human system regulates its actual blood pressure? I have had to. So, there was a time I went to the hospital, and I took my uncle and my aunt to the hospital, and they went to go and do, normally they will do blood pressure first. So one of the nurses on duty told me, why don't you do? I said, your system is not sophisticated enough. I was just joking. He said, come on, do it. So I went and I did it. The first reading, the pressure was high. I smiled. I said, do it again. She did it. The pressure dropped to normal. And she said, wow, what did you do? I said, yes, I'm just letting you know that these machines cannot be relied on too much. The greatest machine is in you. It is that machine that regulates the system. Blood pressure is a product of your thought. It's a product of your vibration. If you vibrate at lower frequency, you drop. And what takes you to lower frequency of vibration? It is your thoughts. If you pick up on low frequency thought like fear, hatred, anger, anxiety, you will fall into that level of vibration. It will be low. All right. But if you leave those areas and you go into gratitude, love, all of those things, you will find out that the pressure will drop. There is a mechanism for controlling your blood pressure. It is on your inside. Get used to it. But the interesting thing is that we are not even aware of that system. We see our system, our body, as a problem that requires help from outside. You see, this is where the whole challenge comes from. And anybody who thinks that by saying this, I am hitting at the medical profession or the pharmaceutical industry, I think they are giving a faulty reading to this. I treasure the medical profession. I have been helped by it. It is great. Doctors, nurses are beautiful people to whom I am grateful. And I know that they deserve much more than they are getting from society. Beautiful people. But what I'm simply saying is that we are not supposed to be attached to the medical profession. We are not supposed to see ourselves as lifelong patients. There is no reason any human being should be on medication for anything for life. It is not. Cures don't come from outside, they come from within. In the same way, there are things that cannot happen from outside us. The way people respond to us is not from outside. We create that response. It is the way we respond to ourselves that people respond to us. We are magnetic entities. We respond to things as they pull us. Our duty is to work on ourselves. By working on ourselves, we are not going out to just get spinal work and all those things to start working on our system. No, it's on the inside. Learn to trust your system. Moment of crisis, yes. Learn to trust your system that it can handle it. And you will be surprised. In fact, the pressure of society on the medical profession is even getting too much. There are some doctors work round the clock. Why? They can't sleep well. They don't have time for themselves because human beings cannot manage their own systems. They deserve some peace. Give our doctors and nurses some respite. Give them some space. Let them find time for themselves. We can't all become cases to be tied onto some medication forever. Know your system. Know who you are. You are a being of power. You are a being of influence. When you lose focus of these, anything can control you. Remember, the lowest level of life is matter, and that is represented by earth. Earth. And remember what he said about the earth in the creation law? So the idea is dominate and subdue the earth. That is the law of Genesis. That is the law of creation. Earth is representative of matter. Whatever has degenerated to the level of earth vibration that has reduced, what is that level? It is the level of apathy. It is the level of submission to the material system. Such an entity will be run roughshod over by the others. Societies that are living at the level of matter, that is, they are always need-based. They are carried away by desires to populate. Outside food and population, anything that has to do with material things, they don't have any other answer to anything. They are matter. They are reduced. Others rule them. There's a line in the Bible in Proverbs. It says, woe unto a society whose kings, whose leaders wake up in the morning to seek alcohol. It simply means that it's a society that is consumption-based. They are not a society of thinkers. They are not a society of creators. So there's so much I can say, but I just want you to understand that the power is in your hands. Use that power.